A Deadly Dinner Party. I'm Jason Horton.
I'm Rebecca Lieb.
And this is Ghost Town.
When you think of getting scared, you might think of a horror movie, a haunted house, or a bad dream. You don't often think of food or a meal as a source of pure terror. Still, that wasn't exactly the case in ancient Rome, or Rome, honestly, up until the 1500s. Romans had a custom that was, in my opinion, much more fucked up. They'd host a hell banquet. For my research, a hell banquet was a dinner party. You'd get an invitation, go to someone's house, walk in, but not see any food. In fact, you'd be confused and then scared by various lighting, sound, and prop elements. A hallmark of a hell banquet, specifically, was food or containers that came in deceptive shapes. Think a table full of what looked like reptiles, but was actually realistic-looking pots with food inside. These containers would be stone or metal or wood, but sometimes edible themselves. Sometimes they were sweet, made of sugar or marzipan formed with greased wooden molds. Then you'd open them up and there'd be something savory inside, and you could just eat the whole thing. After the host decided you were sufficiently freaked out, maybe you'd get a chance to eat. I mean, if you even could. According to Atlas Obscura, hell banquets were, quote, designed to evoke funeral services at the least, or afflictions of hell itself at the worst. The godfather of them all was a feast so horrifying that the guests believed they had attended only to be murdered. Other notable dinners include a meal hosted by Emperor Domitian around the year 89. The whole thing took place in a room that was completely black, from the floor to the ceiling to the table. The guests, most of whom were senators, were each assigned a seat with a personalized gravestone. Not only did the menu consist of food traditionally, quote, offered at sacrifices to departed spirits, but it was blackened with food coloring. Everyone was fucking terrified except the emperor, who loved it, casually discussing only topics relating to death and slaughter. Let's take a break. In March of 1519, guests arrived at Lorenzo di Filippo Strozzi's home in Rome to attend the prominent banker's lavish carnival feast. Known for excess, the guest expected decadence, wine, meat, and sweets with no expense spared. Instead, they were met with darkness. A single candle illuminated the entrance of Strozzi's home. The guests moved up the stairs, through a back door, and found themselves in another dim room. The few flickering candles revealed skulls, skeletons, and a black table. Strozzi had set the table for a feast, but the only thing on platters were illuminated skull and human bones. "Gentlemen, eat," Strozzi said, but the guests weren't amused. At least 2 cardinals vomited, and as people stood up disgusted to leave, Strozzi cracked open the skull to reveal that it was fake and filled with roast pheasant and sausages. It is said that such a wonderful supper has never been given in Rome and that it surely cost a great deal of money, wrote one observer, but everyone was terrified tremendously. These banquets span from ancient Rome all the way to 19th century Paris, and one can imagine they lay the groundwork for a current-day haunted house. Still, sticking your hand in a bowl full of spaghetti doesn't quite pack the same punch as a grown man pulverizing a skull and feasting on delicious meat or candy inside.
I'm really not surprised. I mean, it wasn't like vomitoriums. Was that part of this where they would gorge themselves and throw up? And
yeah, that's adjacent to this kind
right?
of dinner party.
I mean, they were
sure.
strange with food and excess and such, so it doesn't really surprise me too much.
Yeah, it's like whatever sensory experience appealed to the host, I think. If you wanted to scare people, gorge people, like orgies, like I think just like pick a sin and then create a dinner party around it.
It's kind of like our Sizzler.
Yeah.